Hello guys, I am your host BL Guruji. And I am back with the other spoiler video of Bad Buddy. So once again, disclaimer: if you don't wanna get spoiled a bit or wanna watch it freshly, so you can leave the video. And you can watch it while the series is airing, so you can compare it with the novel, so you are watching it on your own. Or you are people who cannot wait, so let's continue the video. So this is Pat's perspective. Pat went to his dorm and remember that he has to bring rice porridge because today morning he told PAA that he wants yum vermicelli, and PAA even bring yum wound senator items to make yum vermicelli. Pat came late at night. PAA's hunger is already gone. Pat and PAA are very close. Their bonds of sister and brother relationship is very good, and the fact in Pat's life the only woman he fears the most is PAA, and the most he cares about is his sister. Also, their relationship is just beautiful. The dormitory converted from a medium size condo into 2 small bedrooms, with 1 bathroom and a common area that is a refrigerator storage room. Back to them. Pat saw PAA and said, "That's this time I did anything wrong and Pran started it." PAA replied, "Is that why Pat will not go and search for other people?" Pat replied, "Actually I was studying hard." But then Korn came along and said Pran started to hit him. PAA replied, "Pat, don't think that I don't know. Pran, your friends might started it." Pat replied, "Whoa, you are my sister or Pran's?" PAA notices Pat's wounds and orders him to sit on the chair. Then she brings T the first aid box from the shelf and with a frustrated expression, she said, "When will you stop hitting each other? And how is Pran? He is badly hurt. Will he be left? You should be proud that you have me as your brother." Then PAA smacked Pat's head and she said, "Stop being a hooligan. Do you think that women like this?" Pat said, "I don't know if they like it or not. But stop being my mother." Then Pat asked, "No cotton swab, what has just brought them at this month?" Then PAA's replied that who used to have fight each day, so that's why they don't have a cotton swab. And Pat replied, exaggerating. Then PAA closed the first aid and told him to go to the next door to Pran's room, because she can't go downstairs to buy cotton swab, because she is already in her pajama. At first, Pat resisted going to Pran's room, but PAA convinced him anyway. The Pat knocked at the door of Pran's room. Then Pran opened the door and said, "What?" Then Pat said, "You scared me." Then Pran asked what did he want. Pat replied, "No cotton swabs." The Pran said to go to the 7 Below. 7 Below is a grocery store at their dormitory on the ground floor. Pat replied, "PAA told me to go too." You, Pran said again. Then both kinda bicker with each other and Pran let him in. Then Pran started to treat his wound and he pressed the cotton swab on the wound tightly. Pat bastard Pran, "That hurts." Then Pran treated his wounds and they both kinda have a chat in which both are arguing. Pat said his hair is long. No, Pran have long hair, so except will have long hairstyle. Pran replied, "I am annoyed, tie it up." Then Pat remembered his elementary school time, how they both always have a fight with each other whenever they see. And one day in his school when Pran threw a stone and his head was bleeding but they were still fighting, then the teacher called parents and both parents were cursing at each other. Then suddenly Pat, that day when both were playing near the pond, both were arguing that this pond belongs to him. Then they suddenly heard the sound of water splashing and then he saw clearly, notices that his cycle has gone under the water, and he noticed that PAA was still on the cycle. Pat froze because both Pat and PAA didn't know how to swim. Then Pran jumped into the pond and dragged PAA out of the water. PAA was not unconscious. She hugged Pran while crying and Pran was fully wet and started to punch Pat. But Pat let him hit him. Pran said, "Don't you wanna help your sister? If I didn't go down, will you let her die?" Then Pat said no. Pran replied, "You are miserable." Then Pran drove away with his bicycle. Then Pat noticed blood on PAA's shirt, but she has no wound. Then he noticed that there is a small wound on his eyebrows, making a scar from then. Their relationship is like this, not hate but not as best friend either. Back to the situation. Pran dressed PAA's wound and went to open the door and told him to leave, but grabbed his hand and asked him that he will treat his wound, but Pran resisted, but Pat won anyway. He dressed his wound in which Pran was complaining how bad his wounding skill is. He said he is doing this. Instead of an apology, Pran was shocked and said, wait a minute, you want to apologize too? Me? Then Pat replied, oh, it's okay to help each other at least. Then Pran replied, you can quit saying that, it's making me puke. Then Pat grabbed both his hands and made him sit on the bed. The face is still impatient. Pran replied, with someone like you. Pat replied, feel very special. Pran replied, you can't do anything. And head back to your room. I have lots of work to do. Pat replied, believe you P, it'll be done soon. Let me check your belly wound. Pran replied quickly, you don't have to do, but Pat quickly grabbed him and lifted his shirt, and he was enjoying what he was seeing, and he used his fingers to gently on the scar, and he was enjoying this a lot. This was the end of chapter 2. OMG, I am imagining this situation and I am screaming like crazy. I hope you liked the video. Let's meet each other at the next chapter. Tell your opinions in the comment